guys, we're gonna talk about how to convert shapes into forms. So in this conversion, we're moving from 2D to 3D. And so we're basically giving our shapes mass and volume and weight, right? And all that has to do with weight, visual weight, physical weight. So we're moving from 2D to 3D. Within this conversion, we're moving from, for example, a square into a cube, a circle into a sphere, and so on. We're going to do more shapes, but we're going to stick with primitives. And let's do some examples. If you remember, we discussed primitive shapes before. Do you recall what those are? So we have a square, we have a circle. Oh, and remember that these are all 2D, right? Shapes are two-dimensional. We have a triangle and we have a rectangle, and we could go on and on. We could even move into organic shapes if we want to and not just stick with geometric. But if we were to convert those into forms, for example, this square, we turn into a cube, that gets turned into very easily, and I'm sure you might have done this before, into a transparent cube where we draw two squares overlapping each other, and then we connect those corners. Let's dive into the anatomy just a little bit more though. Okay, first step. If we wanted to draw a solid cube, we need to start with the face of a cube, one side. We then figure out, okay, what do I want to do to this and how do I want to extrude it, right? You've heard that word before, extrusion. And it's basically the equivalent of pushing through Play-Doh through a die cut and making it longer, like spaghetti is made this way. We want to figure out how to make this cube from a square, and we need to figure out what direction it's going to go in. So in step 2, we need to figure that out, and so far I'm going to go in the upper right direction with these 3 corners. They're all parallel with each other, and they're going in the same direction. And now I need to figure out in step 3, where is the end, or where is the end of this cube going to be, and capping that end off. So in step 3, here I go again, drawing the same design, same direction, and now I'm going to establish that end to cap off that end point. And the top there is capped off. So now I have what appears to be like a little dice or a loaf of bread, a cube. So how can I use this to my advantage? Why is this helpful? Well, in compositions, artists often use these simple forms to establish a variety, size relationships, and placement of objects. So we're going to start off creating our own little composition using the different cubes going off into different directions. Now I want you to practice doing this exercise, making these cubes going off to the left, to the right, diagonally. And remember, it always starts out with a square like this, and extrusion lines all in the same direction. That's my depth. And then capping off that end. So if I want to continue this, I want you and I want us to practice making 5 different cubes going off in different directions. And let's jumble them and just play around with them, almost like they're Tinker Toys. Let's try that. Okay guys, here are my 5 cubes. I've overlapped them and made a little composition of them. Try to do that. Try not to draw them just separately, but try to draw them in a group. We're going to continue our discussion on extruding, but this time move to circles, and we're going to transform them into spheres. Now, it's pretty difficult to show a sphere just by drawing a circle and then like calling it a sphere. You have to show a value shift from 100% black to 100% white. And within this value shift, there are curves of shading that you need to do. I'm going to do a simple shading regimen here for this circle to try to make it seem like it's a sphere. Notice I'm shading it in this rounded circular motion, in this arc formation, to try to give it some kind of value shift. And I'm even going to add in some shading on the bottom, or a cast shadow. And there's my light source right there. Now it's pretty difficult to show a circle, a sphere, without adding value, but we're going to get to value in a later section. Today, what we're going to do is convert our circle into an ellipse. And in doing so, we're going to establish our extrusion method, where we draw 2 parallel lines on each side, and then another ellipse on the bottom, and therefore making this a cylinder. Now, these cylinders can be any size, and basically what we've done is made the viewer think that this circle has now become flattened, or we're looking at it at an angle and has now become an ellipse for the top and the bottom of the cylinder. And this is all about form language of primitives. And remember that this useful technique is going to help us whenever we try to figure out how things are situated within a composition. They're going to help us the placement of things within space, and they're going to help us determine size and scale, and eventually they're going to help us determine value shift. Okay guys, do 5 of those jumbles and we'll see you next time.